Hey guys, welcome back to ShopDontStop. This video is for the second generation Toyota Tacoma owners that have been having issues with their blower motor and or their blower motor resistor. First off, this is a bigger issue and it has to do with the cabin air intake underneath the front cowl just in front of your windshield. It's on the passenger side and there's a hole that communicates directly down to the cabin air filter and then the blower motor below that. Increased resistance on the system causes the blower motor resistor to wear out sooner, and that's why you're having trouble where your switch is only off or on the high setting. There's no variations in the middle there. So in this video, we are going to, one, tackle the issue inside the engine bay and cover that cabin air intake area, make a little roof on it so no more water is getting inside of the cabin air filter and the blower motor. That water is just draining straight down into the blower motor, and that's an issue. So let's address that, test it, and then once we're sure that there's no other issues with that intake area, then we're gonna replace the blower motor because it's noisy, as well as the wiring because that's started to burn up, and the resistor. Let's get right into it, guys. So today on Shop Don't Stop, we have a little bit of a predicament. This 2011 second generation Tacoma that I've been driving, taking care of for my brother, ran into an issue. So before I went on vacation a couple weeks ago, I got a car wash trying to keep this car clean, rust-free. There's water potentially coming in through the cowling, etc., into the passenger footwell of the front passenger seat, coming through right by that blower motor. I let it set, it was pretty cold, and next thing you know, I come back and try and turn on the heat, and the blower motor is making a lot of noise. It was still going, still pushing out heat, but it was sounding noisy. Third and high. So let's get into it. No moisture back in here. Doesn't look like there's any water damage. Not too bad, but definitely need to get a new one. So that's the blower motor. Blower motor itself, spinning just fine without obstruction. Not super noisy, just that one leaf in there. That connector's burned, wow. The resistor is that piece right there. The second from the right is a little bit burned as well. So what I think we need to do, cut new pigtail connectors, both this side, blower motor side. Got to part all that stuff out and we'll come back and actually address it. It is a couple days later. Off of Amazon, I did secure a new blower motor resistor, new pigtails for both of those, and a new cabin air filter. I will put the links below. They are affiliate links, so we do try and get a little kickback and make a little something if you use those links to order your parts. Before we get into the blower motor, resistor, all of that, we need to address the root cause. The cabin air intake is pointed directly upwards underneath the front cowling, and water gets in there with heavy rains, car washes, and effectively ruins the blower motor and the associated electrical components. So let's start breaking down the cowling area, take that apart, see what's there, and then troubleshoot how to fix it. It appears just like underneath the passenger wheel well where the blower motor was, somebody's been in here, and this bolt or plastic plug is already off. The trick to getting these caps off of the windshield wipers is the upper corner that's at a diagonal. Just stick the pick in there. This one's a little bit more challenging than the other side. Stick the pick in and just pop it back. All right, so these should just kind of slide out. Do have to consider where they're at on the splines. So I think it's just got a little plastic tabs holding it in place. Essentially what we're seeing is that this space right here is the cabin air intake, and that goes directly down into the cabin air filter, and then below that the blower motor. How do we decrease the amount of moisture that's getting in there so that we can replace the blower motor this time and never have to do it again for the life of this car or as long as we own it? Because I am going to use a little bit more of a untraditional technique to cover up this cabin air intake, I will show you some screenshots after this clip of other things that guys on Toyota forums have posted. Credit will be included in that screen share. why not use a license plate? I was thinking about using sheet metal. This is the next best thing. So I just tucked this end under a piece of 2x4 to bend it to the angle that I liked it, and we are just gonna mount it up. I think that's gonna work really well. So you can see that I have attached the lower portion of our license plate cover through those 2 small holes on the front aspect of that cabin air intake area. Now let's get the top drilled through the firewall. Wanted to show you final product. So put 2 small holes in the firewall and drove these through it. Also zip tied right there, and it's pretty sturdy. Has good coverage, still airflow is able to get through. Quick bead of silicone that you can kind of see along the top as well as around the screws. I actually did try and fill around the zip ties. Acting like this is going to be going through tsunamis. Let's get this cowl back on. So getting ready to go through the car wash here. Unfortunately, it is not a touchless wash, but gotta keep the car clean and keep the undercarriage rust-free. There could have been still some moisture. I'll pull the cabin air filter out when I get home to see if there's any moisture on it. Potentially a little damp, but I actually think it was from yesterday's car wash and not today. Now that we've proven that through a car wash or potentially heavy rain, there's no water getting into the cabin air intake, we're good to replace the parts that have been worn out from this damage with new ones. So first off, we have the blower motor pigtail. It matches up. I looked at it pretty closely. The smaller box here is the resistor harness. Here is a replacement resistor, but this looks very, very similar to what is currently in it. Here we have a cabin air filter, EP Auto. I mean, it has good reviews on Amazon. A lot of Toyota guys in the reviews saying that it's a pretty good filter, so I just went with it. There are affiliate links to all of these things in the bottom of this video if you guys want to replace your blower motor. All of this stuff is pretty affordable. Here is the new one. This shroud right here is white. On the old one, it's black. You can make sure that it clips in nicely before we put all this work into it. And clips in there. Very nice. That was a nice sturdy clip in. Quick side-by-side comparison here. Here's the new one, here's the old one. One thing I want to draw your attention to is that this center pin is rusty. There's no rust on this car at all, but because of the water that's been coming in through the cabin air intake, that piece has started to rust after just 1 year. My brother replaced it last winter with the same issue. He didn't know the root cause. Today, we're addressing it. Here's the new one. Little different top end design, but a nice spin here. The outer housings appear to be pretty much the same. All right, and our second comparison is this resistor. So in my left hand here is the old resistor. We can see the patterning on it, as well as this foam border that is completely detached, and it's seen better days. We're just crimping down. Before we get under the car, I wanted to show you guys the heat shrink. Looks pretty good, I think. This connector piece is pretty scorched. All right, the first cut is always the hardest. In this orientation, we have white on the left, and then black with the yellow stripe on the right. We'll just mirror that. Second from the left there, a little bit scorched. Very quickly, let's get the new blower motor in place. turn the key in the on position. Heard a click under the glove box. Let's see if this works. Wow. So incredibly quiet. And high. That is going to be a game changer. So here is the new cabin air filter. There's the old full of junk. For these, you gotta make sure airflow going down, and it just slides right in. And the tray, it's clipped shut, and then the glove box back into position. Done. Really quick, wanted to touch on the things that we replaced. So these are all out of the Toyota Tacoma. We can see that this had a little bit of corrosion. Still spun freely, but was super noisy. The next thing, this is the plug that came out of the blower motor. Pretty burned up. Next one is the plug that came out of the resistor. And we can see that one was a little burned up, but again, full system overhaul. Replace that one. And here's the old resistor. Guys, if you're having resistor problems and replacing your resistor in the second gen Toyota Tacomas frequently, consider looking at your cabin air intake for moisture coming down through to the blower motor, as well as putting increased resistance on the system and taking out this resistor sooner rather than later. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. Hopefully this helps you address some issues on your Toyota Tacoma that will have the parts running longer and the truck overall running better with no noisy blower motors, no resistors causing issues with the fine settings that the blower motor should have, as well as no water in your passenger footwell. So please, if you enjoyed the video and it's helped you on your own truck, like the video, consider subscribing for more content. This channel has a lot of videos on BMW sports cars, including my own E36, and also Toyota Tacoma content, some Range Rover P38 content. We have a lot here for you and a lot more to come. Big plans for this channel, so like and subscribe to follow along with us. And remember, shop don't stop.